Good afternoon from the Skyline Studios, high above Cape Coral here in sunny Southwest Florida. We've got music, we've got sunshine, and we've got some great conversation coming up with Anastasia and Martini from Martini Russa. My name's Ken Allman, and this is the Endless Summer Podcast. So here at the Endless Summer Podcast, we talk about music, the bar scene, and other local happenings from as far north as St. Pete, Tampa, all the way down to Naples. But mostly we want to tell the story of the singers, the songwriters, and the musicians that make Southwest Florida such a great place to hear live music, and some very talented people. But before we get into our conversation with Martini Russa, a big shout out to our sponsor, Rum Runners, located right here in Cape Harbor at the southern tip of Cape Coral. Great waterfront views, live music 7 days a week, great drinks, a friendly staff, and best of all, awesome food. They're open every day from noon, and I promise if you stop in, you will not be disappointed. All right, so living in Southwest Florida is like being in an endless summer, and with that comes great live music, which brings me to our guest today. I'm very excited to have Anastasia and Martini from Martini Russa. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes,
Pleasure
absolutely.
To be here.
I'm happy to have you both. I'm very excited. I was on your website and I was reading up about you, and you have such interesting backgrounds. You know, normally I sort of go through maybe a list of questions, but I just want to hear about you. So let's why don't you start and tell us about your stories.
Well, I was born in Russia. At around age 15, I moved to Phoenix, Arizona with my mom.
Okay.
And studied in Tucson at the U of A there. And
I was born in Brazil. And I moved to Spain, to Barcelona more specifically, when I was around 20 years old. And I lived there for quite a bit, for like almost 10 years until we met.
Until I found him there and,
okay,
and asked him to come with me to Oxford, where I was living at the time.
I was actually working in a tablao flamenco, in a flamenco concert house.
Oh, yes.
One of the best tablao flamencos of Tablao de Carmen Amaya.
Okay.
Which is located in Pueblo Español in Barcelona.
It's on a little mountain in the middle of Barcelona.
I saw that you went to study flamenco guitar. That's a pretty unique.
Yeah, like so I had some guitar teachers that used to play there.
Okay.
And I was working also with the restaurant, with the bar and restaurant. They have like 3 different areas, so I was working there. But what connected me with that place was my guitar teachers at that place.
Gotcha.
And Anastasia went there as a tourist.
I came there as a tourist, and somehow on the second song, the old musicians were like pointing at me. I was sitting way in the back, and I caught a waiter, and I said, "What is he saying?" He says he's dedicating this song to a beautiful girl. I'm like, only me can come to a restaurant late, get the last table, and immediately be like, "Hey, girl."
That's awesome. Yeah, but that's awesome.
And I used to hang out with the musicians after the concert. So I was actually going home, and one of them called me, "Hey man, like you're here for like some Russian girls that we met." Come here.
And then during this, they were all speaking Spanish, and I didn't really speak Spanish.
Oh, okay.
So they at some point bring me a jug of sangria, and they say Martini. I go, "I'm Russian, I'm not stupid. This is the sangria, not the martini." And then he walked in, he spoke English, and it was...
That's right, Martini, yeah.
And very much in that same moment, we started playing together, because they had some guitars in there.
Oh.
And Anastasia already like started playing some of her own songs.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, basically we started playing together.
And of course,
like
Martini
after we met.
Martini thought, well, this girl sings well, but she should not play guitar. And actually, my guitar playing right now is totally owed to him. He's taught me basically everything I know.
Okay, gotcha. And is that your main instrument?
My main instrument is voice, of course.
Well, singing,
I
right?
always try to,
so,
sneak out and say, "Can I
She has
please
a
not play
classical
guitar?"
education on piano as well.
Oh, you do? Okay, I thought I saw that.
One of my degrees in Arizona was in piano. Yeah.
So you have the MBA and you have a PhD in psychology.
I do.
And an MBA in business from Oxford, right?
Yes.
Oh wow, and which is amazing. You speak 5 languages and
4.5.
4.5 languages.
Because my Russian is not very fluent, but yeah.
Oh, okay. I got it. And you also black belt in karate. So
that's right.
It's just interesting stories and backgrounds. Like that's fascinating. And you ended up how did you end up in Florida?
Well, we were escaping COVID in Russia because at some point in 2018, I got a job in Russia and I couldn't refuse. And then COVID happened and we're like, we need to leave. And we were kind of debating, should we go to Australia or should we go to US? In Australia, I lived in Australia for a couple years after my PhD. I did my postdoc there, so I have very, very close friends from Australia who were going to, house us for the first time and help us.
They came to visit us in Brazil as well.
They're actually coming to visit us in November as well.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Well, let me know. We'll take them on the boat. Take them out on the boat.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun. See that?
This is serendipitous.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Australia at the time closed its borders by the time I got my resident return visa to return because I used to be a resident there. They closed the borders and they were not allowing even residents to return without having to pay a massive amount of money to quarantine in a hotel. Because at first they were, the government was paying for you to quarantine in a nice hotel. And then they're like, okay, no more. People are complaining. Why are we paying? So, and then we're like, I pulled out my American passport. Like, fine, let's go to the US. Plus, in the US, if you make it in music in the US, you've made it all over the world.
That's true. I mean, that's true. But what about coming to here? Like, how come you didn't go to New York or?
Right.
Well, my mom.
I wondered the same.
My mom lives in Miami. My mom lives in Miami. We came there, and at some point we just decided to get as far away as possible. So we drove west.
Oh, wow.
Hit Naples.
And you hit Naples. Yeah, sooner or later you're gonna hit water, probably. Obviously. The thing is, and I asked that question because a lot of people go to Nashville or LA or New York, but with in this day and age with the internet the way it is, you can be successful from your home in Naples, right? You don't have to go to New York City to get yourself out there. So
absolutely, yeah. What you do feel the difference in the atmosphere, like you go to New Orleans, for example.
Yeah.
And you see so much like really high level musicians, and one after another, and here you gotta drive a little bit more from one place to another. You don't have that main street full of bars and music that it's.
But to be honest, the Naples and Southwest Florida music scene has been really, really nice for us.
Absolutely.
It is a great scene down in Naples. And a lot of people have asked myself and my partner, my friend Aaron, why we don't go down there. But again, the distance, and the only reason I say that is because I'm sure like you guys, right, in Naples, there's 25 places you can play that are probably less than 5 miles away. Because everybody does music around here, right? It's the same here. So I figure, well, why drive an hour if I can do it across the street, right? So all right. So you're guitar and piano, and I saw a picture of you with the SG. Is that your guitar of choice?
My main guitar has been a Les Paul for a long time. Like my biggest influences, from childhood was Slash from Guns N' Roses, guys like Jimmy Page, and I was always a Les Paul guy. But that SG has like a beautiful story, like with my father. It's one of my first real guitars, and I really love that guitar.
I've had one Les Paul. It was a copy though, an Epiphone copy, but it was pretty good. We're talking way back. But I'm a Fender guy, so I have a couple Stratocasters. And what about yourself? Do you have a specific type of guitar that you like, or?
I have a Takamine that actually just made it back from Australia. Since
that's good.
5 years ago.
That's good.
Which is great. So we're gonna play that a little bit later, and I also play quite an old Yamaha acoustic one, which had also a crazy story where at some point in a jam somebody sat on it and it was crushed to shreds.
Wow.
And then we went to several different music luthiers who some people would say, why would you fix it? I said, if your wife gets sick, do you replace your wife?
That's a good vest. I never thought of it that way. That's a very good point.
Yeah, and then a musician from Scotland who was in Moscow as well at the time. We of course we had a beautiful bohemian, hangouts with lots of expats there.
He was hiring me to play on his album. That's why he was in the house.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
he helped us find the guy who did the job.
Okay.
And yeah, it was kind of really nice.
And you know, I'm assuming when you first got together, you played some cover songs, or did you immediately start writing together, or how do you coordinate, or
we actually immediately started writing together.
Oh, okay.
But we had to learn covers in order to, pay bills sometimes.
Yeah.
But to be honest, like I used to, when I was much younger, I used to think, oh, covers, this is just, musicians ripping off other artists. But it's not true. I think
not the way we do it.
A cover done properly and kind of put through your soul gives it a new life on the one hand, and on the other hand, playing covers teaches you something, and it's just being on stage and performance is something.
Yeah, I agree.
I consider there are two ways to play. Well, there's endless ways to play, but when you play a tribute, for example, you want to have all the details in there,
right?
And you want to give the closest to the album to the audience,
right?
I cannot see you watch Pink Floyd in here, but can you have But the way we like to do it, we like to make it our own.
I think that's a great way to do it.
There are some songs that are that we have played for 2 years, and I haven't heard the original. Because I heard from Anastasia playing, and I built it my way, and I liked the way it developed and grew to the point that now I hear the original and I feel like I like better the way we do,
You bring up a good point, and I do the same thing in my duo. And sometimes you almost have to, right? Because you're limited with two instruments or two people. I mean, you're not going to sound like the CD or whatever.
You don't have an orchestra behind you.
Right, you don't have an orchestra and 6 backup singers. Right. So you have to sort of make it your own. Yeah. And I when I see that, I like that a lot better than people actually trying to imitate something when they don't have the band behind them to do it.
I think there will be some elements that you must keep, because they characterize the song.
Yes, absolutely.
But everything else, it's like a story. So you're gonna use your own words and your own perspective. When you talk about a book, you don't recite the book word by word, but you tell the story with your own words of your perception and understanding of that book.
Yeah. And you're both doing this full time, right? This is what you do.
Well, right now, unfortunately, not. We have to have morning jobs too.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Which makes it hard.
It's tough. Yeah. I mean, and I did all my life. I've always had a career. Although I'm having more fun now than I ever did. And but I'm so you're still so. What about let's say your goals? I mean, in a sense, I've talked to some folks that have said, I want to go to Nashville and do that. What's your thought of what's the end game?
Well, we want to go on tour.
Okay.
Hopefully next year. It's kind of starting to be in the works. We would like to go on a world tour.
Okay. No, that's good. That's good. I mean,
The way I see it, a musician don't retire. It plays until it dies.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Death,
and they can't take it away from you, which is my favorite thing.
Because that's who you are.
That's who you are. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And it's good. You have a plan.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, success in anything, right? Whether it's music or software or whatever you're in. Success is a relative term, because if you're not happy, then what's the point, right? So, if I'm right now, I'm playing out a few times a week and I'm doing this podcast and I'm happy, And to me, that's what matters, right?
Yeah, it's hard for people to understand that sometimes you can be famous and not successful.
Yeah, that's right. And famous and not happy.
It can be the opposite. Successful and not famous.
Right, and not famous,
successful in your career.
Well, plenty of people do sync licensing, and they have a little home studio. So sync licensing is when you sell your songs to commercials or TV shows.
Oh, okay, right.
That's a whole, you can have it as a full-time job, being a musician.
Whole business,
and then totally behind the curtains.
Right, that's a good point.
And then they never perform live, and they just, because there are all these websites I'm on a couple of those websites, Song Trader and Taxi.
Oh, okay. I use Storyblocks. Did you ever hear of Storyblocks?
No.
So Storyblocks is the site where I get the audio and the video backgrounds that I use for podcasts and the things like that. Yeah. So so you're But you're playing out and you have a plan, which I love. You know, you want to get out there, you want to get on tour, and you want to go. And you're obviously not afraid to get out there and travel again. I mean, it's not like you haven't been traveling. Yeah. You know, I have to say, meeting people that were born and raised in other countries, I noticed a lot. I've traveled a lot in my life, been very lucky. But I've also noticed that the mentality of the Europeans, South Americans, is much more of a let's go kind of an attitude. Like you just moved over to Barcelona, right?
I would say that in Europe it's very common because the facilities to travel.
Yeah.
And that you go like, I don't know, 100 miles and you're in France.
And you're in France, right? Yeah, that's a good point.
And you're in Italy.
Yeah, here you go 100 miles and you're 300 miles, you're still in Florida.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's a big state. Yeah. I remember when I first drove down, you know, I hit Jacksonville and I'm like, yes, I'm in Florida. And 5 hours later, I'm like, I'm still in Florida. It's big.
And from South America, I see that mentality, but to people that are already abroad. That makes sense.
Okay.
If you go to South America, it's tough as well. Like for people in normal life to make money enough to travel and to have that economic independence as well to just pursue whatever.
Yeah, and plenty of people. I mean, it's a human nature not to like change. So we kind of try to. Change is scary. Okay, the unknown.
You're right.
Is
That's a good point. You're right.
But when you get the bug of traveling, it's just like the bug of music.
I do feel that like for us, the opposite. For me, you know, like when you just arrive in a place that you don't speak the language, you don't know anything, where to go. And by the time you already know everything, you go to the bar and you see the same faces, everybody knows you. A lot of people would feel home. And I feel I need challenge.
Change it. You want to go somewhere
else? Yeah.
So, so whereabouts? So do you play Naples? You play this area? Do you play further north?
We play from Goodland and Marco Island all the way to Englewood.
Okay, all the way up. That's right. You did mention Englewood. Yeah, that's up north by Venice, and nice area up there. And do you have a specific places that you try to focus on? You know, I mean, we play a lot of beach bar kind of restaurants. You know, and do you do more restaurants or where Because what would you say the style of your originals is?
With our band, we tend to play more in places like Englewood on Dearborn or Old Marco Pub, that unfortunately was sold recently.
Oh, okay.
They are restaurants and bars, but they're also music venues. They'll have guitars on the walls, and they're known for bringing sometimes national acts, sometimes local acts, but they're known for good music, so people come there specifically to listen to music rather than being background music.
Right, background
music. There's nothing wrong with that. But
right.
Yeah, I think there are musicians for background music. It's extremely respectful and I respect it a lot. It's not easy to do.
No.
To be consistent in the volume and having dynamics and intensity, but being very respectful, to be background music, so you're having dinner, it's not bothering you.
And you have to be okay with people not listening to you, which I tend to like, because then you don't hear my mistakes, But at the same time, then there's times where I'm like, hey, you want to be heard.
But it's we totally understand and respect, it's totally not us.
No.
Yeah, not you guys. Okay, so
we
as a duo.
Dynamics and and it becomes a concert. We have played in restaurants that the manager was stop playing rock, but everybody was standing up from their tables and dancing and having fun. But it became a concert, so they wanted something more, a guy playing piano.
Stop making my customers happy.
For the record, we weren't even playing rock, we were playing blues rock. We were playing a Gary Moore song at the time. I remember that.
Oh my God, it's one of my favorites. Still Got the Blues for You is one of my favorite one of my favorite songs. Yeah, absolutely.
That specific song, I remember when I was 15 years old, when I just started playing guitar, and from a cassette. A cassette from a friend.
I've had cassettes. But his, unfortunately he passed away. I know a few years ago, but boy, what a talented.
I had the opportunity to see him live, and I was living in Spain, and he went on tour, and unfortunately I could not go to the concert, and it made me sad, and I was thinking, he's not that old, but these people in the rock, they die. So I got the next concert that he was playing in Amsterdam, and I got the ticket and I went to see him. And look, that he died. He passed just 4 months after that.
Oh wow! So you did get to see him.
And I pursued
It's
to
good
see
that you
him.
got to see him. Yeah, it's good that you got to see him. So how would you describe what would you describe your style of the songs that you write together? Is it jazz? Is it blues? Is it rock? Or
Definitely not jazz.
It's rock.
Okay.
More like progressive classic rock. Somebody said it about us once, and we kind of latched onto it. It's if Rage Against the Machine played Pink Floyd.
I saw that on the website.
So
yes,
we like a little.
That's cool.
French in there, but we also love Pink Floyd. Is really the most amazing music, I think. It's a piece of art.
I was talking about that the other day with a couple of friends, Pink Floyd and Rush and like, will there ever be
so unique
bands like that again? I don't know.
Yes.
I hope so. I hope so. I hope you guys can carry on that tradition.
Watch this space.
Exactly. So and you're gonna play a song for us, right? So and we're gonna do something a little different this time. Instead of me sitting here and hogging up the screen, I'm actually gonna step off. And Anastasia and Martini are going to play a song. Tell me about the song that you're going to play.
Well, we have a couple songs coming out soon. We are making some videos for them.
Okay.
And actually, I wanted to shout out to Karen and Joe of S2R Studios who are doing this. So Karen also is the director of the Louis P. Tabarini Children's Music Outreach Foundation.
Oh, wow.
They provide musical instruments and lessons to kids who don't have resources for them otherwise.
We'll have to talk more about that. I'm interested in hearing about that.
This is in partnership with the School of Rock Fort Myers, and they also organize every year the biggest music competition in Florida. Called the Southwest Florida Rock the Stage.
And Rock the Stage. You guys were winners, right?
Last year. So December 10th, we are actually playing at the finals as well.
When?
December 10th.
December 10th. All right, we got to make sure we remember that. See, we have winners on the podcast. That's so cool.
Originals with our full band.
What's that?
Adriana was also a winner from
Yes, she was a winner. Yeah, that's right.
So she was the winner under 18, and we were the winners.
A little bit over 18.
So all right. So tell me about the song.
So the song is called City of Ghosts, and we think it's fitting because just in a couple days from today, it's going to be our 10th anniversary of meeting each other, and which means it's the anniversary of when he first heard the song, and I wrote it a couple days before that.
And it was the first song we worked together on.
Yes. So it's called City of Ghosts. It's about the 1974 Turkish invasion of northern Cyprus.
Not what I would have guessed, but
as well as because now there is through the island of Cyprus runs a green zone or UN zone. Where nobody can go, and there were beaches and buildings, kind of akin to Naples, Florida, where now nobody can go, and now it's since 1974, so they're crumbling beyond repair. And it's
City of Ghosts.
In the 70s, it was like Ibiza, like all the celebrities would buy a house there. And now it is all scrambling.
Wow, I'm excited. All right, so Martini Russa, Anastasia, and Martini are going to play City of Ghosts.
Lay down your arms. Spring has come. Divided we conquer no one. Rules of the land with fire in their hands. Those who believe the means justify their ends. War everywhere, but there's nothing to fear anymore. So many years the waves have reclaimed the shore. Can you see me believe they flee to avoid This used to be a home. Now where's your right to return? There used to be sun. No, it never will warm anyone. You could turn it around. You could build it up from the ground. But the damage is done. The damage is already done. A war everywhere, but there's nothing to fear anymore. So many years, the waves have reclaimed the shore. Can you see people leave? They flee to avoid their doom. In the city of ghosts, forever in bloom. Forever in bloom. The world without us will not miss a beat. Sharp blades of grass grow under our feet. The smell of defeat, like summer so sweet, it shatters like glass. This world around us, this world without us, will not miss a beat. Sharp blades of grass grow under our feet. The smell of defeat, like summer so sweet, it shatters like glass. This world around us, war everywhere, but there's nothing to fear anymore. So many years, the waves have reclaimed the shore. Yeah, yeah. Can you see me believe? They flee to avoid their doom. In a city of ghosts, forever in bloom. Yeah, forever in bloom. Yeah. Nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. Ooh, nothing to fear. Oh, forever in bloom. Oh, forever in bloom.
Well, that was totally awesome. A City of Ghosts, amazing song, and I love the passion and the energy behind it. And I could tell when you wrote it and the way you sang it and played it that there is definitely passion and energy behind that.
Thank you.
Yeah, really awesome. And that one's coming out soon, but you're waiting on the video?
Yes, SWFL Studios are making our video, and it's going to be amazing.
Gotcha. And then the songs will be out. You're working on a few, right, in the studio?
We're working on 3 new songs at Farmadelica Sound.
Okay.
By Howard Merlin. He's the real Merlin. He's seriously a magician. So we've got 3 songs. One is a straight up rock ballad. One is a monster that's like us, Rage Against the Machine playing Pink Floyd. And another one is kind of out of the left field. It's called My Mama Didn't Let Me Go, and it's a little bit of a vaudeville sounds.
Wow, there you go. I'm looking forward to hearing that one. Vaudeville song.
It's a fun one.
Vaudeville song. That's very cool. Well, and you have a show coming up at the Naughty Parrot Oasis?
We do,
Okay.
the October the 13th, which is actually Friday the 13th, right before Halloween. So we're preparing a very special show with our full band at the Naughty Parrot Oasis.
Awesome. Naughty Parrot Oasis, Friday, October 13th. And then on Spotify and YouTube and the other music sources, obviously you'll be able to hear their music. So from the Skyline Studios, huge thank you to Martini and Anastasia. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Absolutely. Great meeting you both and look forward to hearing you. And I'm going to definitely want to come and see you live and listen some more. So
Thank you, Ken.
My name is Ken Ullman, and enjoy your endless summer here in Southwest Florida. And this is the Endless Summer Podcast.